They told me it was a mistake to go in here solo. I'm starting to think they were right. But it's too late now. There's only one way out.
We've had to do things to survive. Things I never would have.
Why'd you do it?
I don't know.
Did you get anything out of it?
No. Nothing. Everything just went red. I couldn't stop swinging.
We're monsters. We're all monsters.
Anyways, besides Solo Marathon feeling like an actual horror game a lot of the time, I've seen a lot of people saying that it's just rough to go in solo. And like, yeah, it absolutely is, in more ways than one. I mean, the game literally tells you solo is a more challenging experience. In trios, UESC bots are usually not a run-ending threat by themselves. Sure, when you mix in a little bit of this and a little bit of that, things can go wrong very quickly. But as a solo, you'll think you're cooking the bots and they'll just turn the tables and scramble you like some eggs if you're not careful. But partly due to that extra challenge, I've enjoyed solos a lot more than I thought I would. For example, there's this one event on the first map Perimeter called Intercept, which I have failed on the final step 3 times now. It's great though, I can't wait to try doing it again, because I've been so close to beating it and I know I just need that one good run. And like, sure, I could probably first try it with no problem with a decent squad, but it's gonna feel so good when I solo that thing for the first time. Anyways, I do want to talk about the main reason I see people say Solo Marathon is rough, which is losing some juicy loot to some dude playing like a frickin' rat. Unfortunately, that's just how solos is sometimes. I personally try to keep my rat behavior down to a minimum, but sometimes the opportunity comes up and you gotta do what you gotta do, you know? In solos, we all play like a little bit of a rat now and then, and sometimes I've had deaths that just feel cheap and annoying, but if you stop and think about it, you can realize some small mistakes and learn from it. Like in this clip, really, just silly of me not to expect an assassin crouching in that crevice of the wall. No, yeah, that one was ridiculous. I actually just yelled "you rat" as that guy finished me. But I have been a little bit more careful around those walls ever since. And if you end up being able to turn the tables on someone who's playing like that, oh man, it feels good to cook them. And something I like to do, and so do a lot of other people, is dipping your toes in the solo pool with a free kit to start. It just feels nice to get some no-risk warm-up games in and start building up a kit from there. And when you do start bringing in a pretty good kit, there's plenty of ways to build into how solos play to somewhat help avoid those annoying deaths. One of my favorite builds I had was on Destroyer, which heavily increased my melee damage and allowed me to heal off of melee kills. So I literally just use my knife when fighting bots to keep noise down and not waste my heals or ammo. Even though that build lasted a while, it's unfortunately no longer with us, and that's just how the marathon cookie crumbles. There's also a core for recon that you can buy pretty early on from SecGen that makes UASC pingy thingies pulse more often and last way longer. And honestly, this is a must bring if I'm running a recon. It just makes looting and fighting bots at a point of interest feel way more comfortable. Since I can instantly tell if someone's approaching, and if they do try to find me in my domain, I know their location and I know what shields they're gonna have. Also, it only takes about 40 seconds to be able to activate it again after it stops. But just be careful when activating it because you are locked in that animation no matter what. And another problem is, if they have signal jammers activated, they don't get pinged. But this is solos, most people ain't bringing in signal jammers. So unless you run into someone who's absolutely juiced and looking to cook your goose, you're probably gonna be fine. Just never completely let your guard down. Anyways, that kind of brings me to another point. Solos can be less lucrative and takes longer to level up than squads. But honestly, I don't actually see it as a bad thing necessarily. If you're someone who likes optimizing everything and getting the best loot as fast as possible, then solos just probably ain't for you. But there's so much more to Marathon than optimization, and all that matters is that you're enjoying your progress through the game. That being said, solos still can be just as lucrative as trios. Well, outside of Kara Archive, since you can't actually load into that map solo. But the rest of the maps have the same loot, you're just having to face off against more teams and will have a harder time killing bosses and such. But you do get to keep all that juicy loot for yourself, and not having to deal with your friend vacuuming up all the loot right before your eyes for the 5th time today can be nice. Anyways, the final thing I want to bring up for right now is that proxy chat is a ton of fun in solos. I've seen some people say they never see people use it. Well, then use it yourself. From my experience, a decent amount of people will respond if you say something. And most people are pretty chill. I've only had 2 people say anything mean, really. And one dude literally just said "eat mine" as he finished me, and then proceeded to walk 2 feet and get downed himself, so it was still a funny experience for me. And I could probably ramble on for a while about all the good proxy chat encounters I've had, so for now I'll just throw a couple at the end of this video. Now to conclude, solos definitely has its own appeal. Some people will love it, some will hate it. Personally, I enjoy it for the most part. I definitely can get annoyed by the ratting when it happens a lot, and there's also trading and gunfights, which just feels pretty bad in solos. But it really comes down to going in with the right mindset. I do not recommend hopping into solos with a 10k kit after a long day at work. You're probably going to end up pretty pissed off doing that. But if you can hop into solos fully prepared to accept the good, the bad, and the fact that it just plays very differently than trios, it can be an absolute blast. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. If you happen to enjoy, a like and subscribe would be hugely appreciated. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you around.
I'm so scared.
So many
Hey,
people,
there's more of us.
GG's,
Nice,
GG's.
nice. GG's.
I can't seem to get down to you, sir. I'm trying.
You're good, dude.
Coming over to the ladder. I'll make it easier.
You're insane.
20 minutes remain.